Hello everyone, I'm here to do a presentation of barriers to adult participation and how to eliminate them. A fundamental aspect of adult education is engaging adults in becoming lifelong learners. But there are so many barriers out there to prevent adults from participating. In this presentation, I'm going to talk about what kind of barriers adults have and how to eliminate them. According to most researchers, there are two main barriers to adult learning: external or situational, and internal or dispositional. Among the external barriers to learning, it contains the first one causes the effect of aging, such as loss of vision and hearing, which some authors believe tend to affect the capacity of learning of those adults who participate in formal adult education. The second one causes in changing in health and certain life events, which inherently indirectly influence adults' ability to learn. For example, pain and fatigue often accompany both acute and chronic illnesses, leaving adults with little energy or motivation to engage in learning activities. The last one of the external barriers to learning is called motivation factors. For example, being forced to attend career-related workshops or conference for job security, so that causes people lost their motivation to go to learn. So that's the big factors of the external barriers to learning. On the other hand, among the internal barriers to learning, it contains the first one, depending on remembered fact and learning skills, or trying to make sense of new learning by relying on old categories formed in the past. And the other one called being anxious and concerned about not being able to succeed in new learning situations. This is the most common one in the internal barriers to learning. Most people are too worried about they can't perform well during their learning situation, so they can't go, so they don't go to their class. So that's the big barriers to them. Despite those barriers, there are still many ways can overcome the barriers through the proper education. For example, using stories to attract adult students' attention. According to Falaska 2011, people learn very early that stories not only are entertaining but also provide the rules about what is expected by society and how to make meaning of experiences. Stories are integral to human existence and have great power to change or influence how people think or react. They are an integral part of how learning takes place and have obvious benefit to trainers and educators who want to impact what and how students learn. According to using story to improve occupational safety training by Elan T. Cullen, there are four kinds of story to educate the adult learners. The first one called hero stories. This story takes the form of talking about people who were larger than life. The unspoken message to the listener is that the hero is a model for them and that is the behavior and the moral fibers that the culture demands. The second one called villain stories. These stories are also about the values and the norms of the culture, but view them from the shadow side. These stories reveal as much about the culture's value and expectation as do the hero stories. This message for listeners is this type of behavior is unacceptable and should be avoided. The third one called adventure or disaster stories. This story is about an event and have many characters involved who will react to the event. Workers who regularly face unforeseen dangers such as underground miners must make sense of this danger. This can be enhanced by sharing a story of what can go wrong and how people react when it does. The last kind called fool stories. This may be the most valuable type of training stories. Fool stories are about what happens when someone ignores warnings, forgot training, becomes careless or complacent, or perhaps acts unsafely. Beyond telling a story to the adult learner, we can also encourage learners to formulate their own learning objectives. Try to establish a friendly, open atmosphere that shows participants that they will take part in a positive and meaningful education experience, or set a degree of difficulty high enough to challenge the participant, but not so high, remember that, they can become frustrated by information overload. I think those ideas are the key to eliminate the barriers of adult participation besides telling the story. Thank you for watching my presentation.